Wherefore, as by one man sin entered into the world, and death by sin, and so death passed upon all men, for that all have sinned. Sin is the great unseen enemy. I mean, the fact of the matter is, as we sit here right now, can you see sin? I mean, I'm not saying just in your mind's eye. I mean, do you see it? Where is it? It exists. But in that sense, it's unseen. Sin is like COVID-19 in that it began with one man and is passed on to others. I was reading an article in ScienceDaily.com, and this was interesting. It popped out at me. The resulting genomic sequence data has shown that Chinese authorities rapidly detected the epidemic and that the number of COVID-19 cases have been increasing because of human-to-human transmission after a single introduction into the human population. Did you hear that? A single introduction into the human population. For by one man, sin entered the world. In the beginning, following the creation of man, God said in Genesis 1:31, all of it, everything, including the man that He made, He said, it's very good. There was no strain of anything that would interrupt that good. It was all good, all in perfect order, all was peaceful, all was right. But then something happened as you continue to read the record, and God has preserved it for us. And this is one of the ultimate questions we ask, is what went wrong? And this is one of the questions that we need to ask in our world and seek to answer according to the light of God's Word. Sin entered the world when Adam freely chose rebellion against the God who made him. Think about that. The created defied the Creator. And immediately, man and all creation related to him was cursed. I might just throw in as a side note that one of the things that just magnifies the greatness of sin is not that the sin appeared to us, at least on the surface, to be so great. I mean, if Adam had slaughtered his wife, we would have said, yeah, we get it. That was horrible. But he just ate a piece of fruit. What's so bad about that? And of course, you know the answer. Many don't, but you know the answer. It was rebellion against God. God said, this is what you should do. That God said, be satisfied with what I have given to you. God said, I am the one you are to look to. And Adam, in that moment, did everything but what he should have done. And sin entered the DNA of humanity, so that every descendant of Adam has been made in the image of his parents. And we have that expression in Genesis chapter 5, verses 1 through 3. This is the book of the generations of Adam, of mankind. In the day that God created man, in the likeness of God made He him. Male and female created He them, and blessed them, and called their name Adam in the day when they were created. And Adam lived 130 years and begat a son in his own likeness. You see, the change from verse 1. In the likeness of God made he him. And then verse 3, in his own likeness, after his image, and called his name Seth. And from there, the decline began. And no, things are not getting better. We have the record of Psalm 14, where the Scriptures speak of God's vantage point. Psalm 14, verse 2. Verse 1, the fool has said in his heart, there is no God. They are corrupt. They have done abominable works. There is none that doeth good. The Lord looked down from heaven upon the children of men to see if there were any that did understand and seek God. They are all gone aside. They are altogether become filthy. There is none that doeth good. No, not one. And that's what Paul refers to in Romans chapter 3 as he wraps up his thoughts or summarizes his thoughts that he's been dealing with from the very first chapter as he has unfolded the nature of humanity and the problem with humanity and the sin of humanity. And he gives these concluding statements such as Romans 3 and verse 9. What then? Are we better than they? That is, are the Jews better than the Gentiles? No, in no wise. For we have before proved it. We've proven this, both by these arguments that he's already given, that Jews, both Jews and Gentiles, they are all under sin. And then he unfolds some of the details, quoting Old Testament scriptures, describing the nature of sin in humanity. And then after some other thoughts, he puts forth this concluding statement in verse 23. For all have sinned. That's the same expression in our text in Romans 5:12. For all have sinned. All sinned, really. It is referring to an act. It's referring to a point in time. It's referring to something that was done that all of us participate in, as we'll talk about in a few moments. For all have sinned. And then continually we come short of the glory of God. Therein lies the problem of mankind.